the Gentlementor.
Verbal, are you familiar with Viktor Frankl?
Yeah, of course. He was Jewish.
Yeah, yes.
No way.
He was
Frankl?
Yeah, he's right. He hovers in the top of the list of my favorite Jewish people. I'm present company with right now. Anyway, he talks about when man doesn't have meaning, he fills it with pleasure, and I think that's what the social media dopamine thing that Doug was talking about. And I always think
Frankl got that from me. He ripped that off of me.
That's why. Yeah, that's right. So I think of it. Remember, you used to go to the store and you used to get the magazines, and do we still have magazines? We have magazines, and inside the magazine there would be the card, the advertisement.
Drop cards.
And so you'd be flipping through the magazine, and that page would always pop open to that flop card. I feel like that's what we're trying to do with social media. It's like you got all this clutter, and then stuck there in the middle is a little bit of meaning that you can grab it, pull out, and do something with. That's.
I just want to say one more thing to Doug about this idea.
The second hole.
Being honest, I am on social media, and I do spend what I think is too much time on social media.
As do I.
And when I've been amazed when I scroll through and I see these like memes or maybe even an ad for like a learning center or something like that, where they're basically showing me as the user like how negative social media is. And I'm aware of it because like I'm looking at an ad on Instagram, or not an ad, but like a reel or a video about how horrible social media is for me. And I'm on the app right now. Right, doing that right now. And I remember thinking to myself, like, does this work? Like, would this really get me to not use social media if I was like addicted and I wasn't only on social media for 30 minutes a day max, right? Like, would this really work? Or would this make me feel like more worse and I wouldn't want to even, like, I just scroll past it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking, like, when you said like your theory and what you want to like start implementing, I think it's important to make sure that you don't, and this goes into parenting as well, you don't point out like a negative action or negative behavior as much as you celebrate just that human soul, right? Find the way to just celebrate that human soul in that moment.
Yes, 100%.
And I think that it's not a hole, I'm not poking a hole, but I think that is the challenge, to create content and create, the right, definitely people are stimulated by, like visual experience now.
That's the primary functionality. It's like what you were saying about telling your kid, I learned something from you. You just taught me something. When I go out, and I'll just be a little specific. I'll go out and find people, first of all, finding people who are real people and not just accounts selling things. Right. Finding people who are, I have one specific thing that I set up, and all I do is look for creative people. I look for artists, musicians, poets, anybody who does anything creative, and then I follow them. I wait for them to produce something, and then I compliment it. I give them praise. I put it in my story. I share it with them. I share it with other people so that they know I'm sharing it. That's like the first way that I start to open relationship with these people. So everything I'm putting into them is about positivity, about lifting them up, and then that builds a relationship. I don't know if you're familiar with, what's his name? Daryl Davis. Daryl Davis is a guy who has converted Ku Klux Klan members, and he's a black guy. Oh, wow. And he does this by befriending them. That's his first move. He gets to be friends with them, and then when he says, hey, now I'm a black guy and you're a racist white supremacist, what do you think now? He's had over 100 of them like renounce their membership in the KKK and give his robes away to him. Because once you're my friend, it's a lot harder for you to hate me. It's a lot harder for you to reject what I have to say. If you know that I love you and I care about you and I respect what you're doing as a human, then if I try to share some more, challenging truths, you'll still be open to it. You're not going to reject me. And so, like I said, it's been about a 3-year process I've been doing this.
I just opened Daryl Davis. Oh, sorry.
No. That's kind of that's the premise behind it.
Yeah, I just opened up Daryl Davis. I searched Daryl Davis, and that's the statement that came out. The first statement on this webpage is, how can you hate me when you don't even know me?
Yeah.
And I had this experience. I was 2010, probably around 2010. I was in Hawaii. I was setting up a sukkah for the holiday of Sukkot. You ever heard of that?
Yes, yes. Booths.
So it was late at night, and it's like I came to this podcast 10 minutes late. Like I'm just cramming in things into my day that just don't fit in a schedule. And it must have been like 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm setting up the sukkah for the next morning, so it's all ready. And it should have been done like hours before. And this fellow just comes starting to walk towards me. You can tell he consumed something that altered his reality to some degree.
Pre-celebration.
And he like starts to curse out Jews, and pretty like aggressively. And I didn't know. I'm all alone, 10 o'clock at night, and like in this parking lot setting up this sukkah, and I didn't like. I'm trying to think like what would be the appropriate response right now. Like, ignore him? Should I run away? Should I call the cops? Should I like get ready to defend myself? And I just blurted out. I kind of remember it. Like I remember it happened. Like I remember the story. Like I don't like remember the feeling of like how I got to just blurting out. And I love you.
I thought you were going to say, Mel Gibson, go home.
And he just like stopped. And then I don't remember exactly how it got to like a few moments later, we're just sitting together. And I asked him like, you know, where did you get all these ideas from? Like, you know, I would love to learn more. Maybe, the Jews are really that bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Teach me something.
And he was a kid who grew up in a rough neighborhood, went to prison very, very early, had to chose the gang that looked like him to some degree, and he got a swastika. He never learned. He had no, it made this Daryl Davis story made me think of it because it's such a great statement. How can you hate me when you don't even know me?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that was just an amazing experience that happened to me. Just really, really amazing experience. I fed him, and I never saw him again, but
wow.
Soft answer turns away wrath, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Proverbs, isn't it? Isn't it Proverbs? Yeah. So I was going to segue back to this because you started to do it.
This will be interesting.
And then I wanted to segue this because we got onto Daryl Davis. Is that his name?
Yeah.
We got into that when we were talking about social media, and I wanted to go, okay, social media is going to be a part of our lives for who knows how long. How do you manage that with your kids? Are your kids on social media? At what point are you going to allow them to have social media?
It's a great question. Whenever my wife says, so I'm like way more open to these ideas, more structured, and she's really good with it. She knows how to like, find what my kids are really looking for,
mm-hmm.
and help them find what they're really looking for.
Okay. And
try to find a more kosher medium for it. So right now they're a little bit younger, and like Batsheva's turning 13, so social media is still not a part of their life, although they do have like Google Hangouts and they're chatting with their friends all the time. They have access to a phone in our house, and like so like they have the mediums that they want to accomplish the objectives that they've told us that they want, which is
mm-hmm.
communicate with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't yet gotten to that point of like, okay, social media, but it's a good question.
I think your solutions are amazing. That's a great idea. Find something that will meet the need. You don't have to have every social media and be turned loose on the internet, but something you can use at home with some supervision and still fulfills the need and makes you feel like you're not cut off. That was always the thing with our kids. We were there right as kids were starting to get phones, and our kids didn't get phones because it wasn't financially going to happen for us. But all their friends had phones, and it became a big peer pressure thing, and we didn't have a thing like that. There was no Google Hangouts at that point or anything of that sort. But that's a great compromise idea.
It's very peer related. It's very peer related because in watching my daughter grow up and and going through high school and stuff, it was the whole, oh, did you see the meme? Did you see the video? Did you see the TikTok? Did you see this? Did you see this? And you get to be tired of the person that's going, no, I don't have that. And so it's in a sense, I can see it's not about, I need to communicate with someone, or I need to do a hangout with them, or I need to chat with them. It's about, I don't want to be left out of the conversation. I don't want to be the only kid who didn't see that particular video tomorrow because it went viral. That's just my defense for.
Yeah. So I was going to say that
your excuse after the fact. That's what that was. What is your cover story?
Yep. Yeah, that's my cover story. I'm sticking to it.
Mark, I was going to say, I didn't truly answer your question, because what happens when Batsheva comes over to me, and she'll probably watch this if you put this up somewhere, and she'll say to me like, okay, I want social media. Like, now what? Right? So this parenting course that I'm taking, it talks about 6 ideas. I've only learned 2. The 3rd class is tonight, but I've been enjoying watching the course later. No, I don't like to watch it live.
Okay. So you're watching it virtual. I was thinking, we're not keeping you away from it, man. We know.
Yeah, there's something terribly wrong about skipping your fatherhood class to talk about fatherhood. I'm not sure what's wrong, but it
with a bunch of unqualified
wrong.
Guys.
Yeah.
So, so the first idea that this rabbi talks about is that we're partners with God, and he brings.
You were telling me that the other day. Yeah.
Right. Brought sources from the Talmud and some other sources in Jewish history, where it talks about how there's 3 entities that create a child, right? God, husband, and the wife. And he says, okay, so that's like a nice idea, right? But let's break it down. Why do we need God? What is it that God is bringing to this partnership? Like, just conception, just that miracle, just the miracle of birth? Like, at what point, like, is he involved when we're parenting, in the moment that I'm interacting with my kid? Like, at what point does it end? Or is he a partner is he a partner the whole time? If he's a partner the whole time, that means he must be contributing something. What is it that he's contributing when I'm talking to my kid and trying to tell her, like, no, I don't want you to have social media? Or
better be cash.
So he brings out this idea that God has unlimited patience. God has unlimited kindness. God has unlimited love.
Yeah.
And when it comes to parenting, the reason why you get to be a partner with God is God lets you tap into those resources. So if you have this idea in your train of thought, in your school of thought, constantly meditate about that. When you communicate with your child, you'll see that, like, you're at that point where you're breaking and you remember, wait a second, I actually have all the answers within me, and I have unlimited resources. Whatever it is that I need, I'll find out what I need, and I'll have those resources. All of a sudden, the right answer comes out. The kindness comes out. It melts your child. It melts you. It's a whole nother experience. So that's his first idea. So I think it's very powerful that, sometimes we don't have all the answers. Like, I listen to the parenting courses that make me crazy are the ones that tell me that this is the way. And if you listen to this, you're going to be the best parent in the world. It's like, no, like, sometimes you don't have all the answers, but you have to learn, like, what tools God gave us, and what partnership is, and how, and what is our responsibility, and what is our role. And when we learn that, answers come. And that's real parenting. Real parenting is like your kid taking you to the brink, and there's 3 kids pulling you the other way, and your wife that you're late to your meeting with Mark, and like and one kid is like pulling your phone because they want to see the score of the Braves, and you're just like, you don't think you have any more patience, and you take that moment, you're like, okay, this child needs this, let me be with them for a second, just totally with them. Let me be with this child. And then you didn't even realize what you did, but you look back at that and you're so proud of yourself because you did it. You parented in the way you should parent.
It does happen.
And that's a beautiful picture too.
That's the truth. That's exactly what it's like. That's a perfect picture.
Well, and I love the whole partnership thing. And a few years ago, I was reading. I've got a Daniel Lapkin book. I think we talked about him a while back. AVREMEL. He's a rabbi that he's into business, and he wrote a business book. And anyway, one of the chapters in there, his little chapters are just real short nuggets, and one of them was the partnerships and how specifically the Jewish people will. They rely on other people. It's like this is what I do. I make coats or whatever it is, but this guy mows lawns and I'm going to partner with him and I'm going to pay him to mow my lawn. I'm going to pay him to work on my car because that's what he does. And we partner together, and I'm making coats and I'm producing the coats. So I don't have to take time away from making a coat to keep this guy warm in the winter when I can partner with him, meaning financially pay him to make sure that my car runs properly during the winter. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, he used a brilliant illustration about partnership. And one year, it was just one, I had this list of partnerships that I had to make sure that I maintain. And of course, God was on the list. You were on the list. Doug's on the list. These people that I want to I have good partnerships with. I think that whole idea of a partnership, that should go with anything. I mean, that's what we're trying to create here.
Right.
Too many fathers try to go it alone. Too many fathers or parents try to go alone, and they're at their wits' end. They're exactly right. They've got two kids pulling over here and they're late to a meeting, and somebody wants to know the score of the game or watch the Nickelodeon video or whatever, and you're just like, I don't know what to do.
Baby Shark.
Baby.
Oh my God, Baby Shark. As a musician, some of the songs just make me crazy. I have like sensory processing disorder at those moments. Like I just can't.
So what was number two? What was number two before we lose it? What was the second thing?
So before we go to the second point, if it's okay with you guys, I actually.
Of course it's okay.
I don't know. Let's vote.
Is it happening?
No, go no.
No, he was kidding. No.
Having fun with the jokes.
I'm being ridiculous. Go ahead.
There's another idea in Chassidus, Chassidus school of thought, which is very powerful and can help us, definitely as parents, help us be armed when we get into these kinds of undesirable situations with our children, where we find ourselves behaving in a way that we really not proud of ourselves.
Is this story about me? I feel like this story is about me.
This story is about me.
About every parent, every father.
I hope other people could relate. And what's crazy is like when you're younger and you're not aware of it, you're not aware of how, dissatisfied you are with that interaction. You totally put that on your kid, right? Like, how can you get to this point? How do you make your father, so upset or whatever? You just have no way of expressing like you're really not proud of the way you just talked to your child. So there's this concept in Chassidus, and Chassidus is this school of thought that the Baal Shem Tov is the first Hasidic rabbi. Like, all the Hasidics that people are polarizing during COVID. So,
Yeah.
Some of them are really good people. Don't listen to New York Times. But
No, you gotta. I come, even though I'm from a small town in America. My mother is, can I say, Jew-centric? I have a very Jew-centric mother. I grew up having to watch like Robbie Benson and The Chosen and Yentl and stuff, so I know more than I probably should. So proceed.
Actually, the song that I sang earlier, it's called the Niggin, which means tune, Hisoris Rachamim Rabim. An arousing of Rachamim Rabim is a great amount of mercy. And the Baal Shem Tov had a young student who composed it, and he was obsessed with this song. And when he's on his deathbed, he asked that when they felt that his soul was leaving this world, to comfort his soul, they should sing this song for him. That's the song that I started, I sang on the. Anyway, so in the school of thought, they talk about the idea of how there's this concept called sitra achra. I'm just using the Hebrew terms. I'll translate it. It's like the other side, the dark side, right? There's negative forces and negative energies in this world, and we've definitely touched upon it in this conversation. Where does that come from? Is that a creation of God? Is it other than God to the degree that God is combating it? Like where does it's in this world? If you believe God is the creator of the world, chances are he wanted it here for some reason. You don't create things that you don't want, right?
The Gentlementor.